Sagali. Sagali Swagwake. Wadik Manuelado. Just wanna greet all of you this evening. Hanan Dwawanizade Diantino Welado. Yokisoto Guha Ladisa Gayundes. And so we're gonna mention that we're gonna give thanks to the thunders since they're out there. If you're in Green Bay or Oneida, Wisconsin right now, there's storms. So, Sakali Swagwig. So tonight we have another awesome slideshow for you. And we'll get started with that right away because I have a website I want to share with you guys, and so we can listen to some stories. It's a really awesome resource. How Swahalega Hundred Vadasa. Are you all ready to start? Hosilu ha Yugwal ha. So then you can say ha Yugwal ha. Yeah, we're ready. So this class is brought to you by Scott Gulat Incorporated. Again, this is kind of our beginning slides, just little reminders about Zoom guidelines. And here's our warm-up for today. What words or phrases do you recall from the last class, which was on the topic of gardening and plants? And so, also, have you begun to include some of the words from our class in your daily routine. So feel free to drop that in the chat for us. Seems like there's some people not able to join with that link. They're having some trouble. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna email somebody. So let's see if I can help out here for a second. All right. Technical difficulties. Whew. So if I run down in the basement real quick, just know I'm still on Zoom. All right. So tonight we're talking about basic grammar in Oneida. So what we mean by that is we're going to talk about how to put some fairly short sentences together, questions, and then some answers, and then also how to answer positively or negatively, meaning don't or no. So we're gonna use a root word that means to like something. So it sounds like nuis and nuese is the root word we're going to be using. So I want to remind you a little bit. We're going to remind you a little bit about the C stem pronouns, okay? So if you're looking at this slide and you see this word that I'm pointing to, snuese, this N starts the beginning of the root word. So I'm wondering if I switch tabs if you guys can see this. Maybe not. Can you guys see this screen where it says system, subjective, and objective?
No.
Okay.
Da.
Okay, well, let me try again. All right. Now I think you can if I do this. There. So here's a little reminder about our C-stem pronouns. So I was saying the root word nuis or nuise is what we're going to be using tonight to talk a little bit about basic grammar. And so I'm going to go through and change the root word with all these pronouns, and then I'm going to ask for some volunteers who want to try, okay? That's just going to give us a little warm up to our session tonight. So first I'm going to put the K on it, and it's going to sound like gnues, gnuese, gnues, gnuese. And I'm just going to go right down this chart in this row, or sorry, this column here, and go to this next one. Snues, snuese, snues, snuese. And then Lanuwis, Lanuwis, Lanuwis.
Duanuwis, Wanuwis, Ladinuwis, Gundinuwis, Yaguanuwis.
Yo, Yane, who's ever doing that? But can you mute yourself? Yeah, we'll go. So then the next one sounds like Yenuwis, Yenuwis, Yenuwese. And then this one, Ganuwis, Ganuwis, Ganuwese. And then the next column starts out with our dual pronouns. Ninuwis, Ninuwese, Ninuwis, Sninuwis, Sninuwese, Ninuwis, Ninuwis, Gninuwis, Gninuwis, Yagninuwis, Yagninuwis. And then our final column right here that we're going to be working with tonight, Duanuwis, Duanuwis, Swanuwis, Swanuwis, Ladinuwis, Ladinuwis, Gundinuwis, Gundinuwis. All right, so I went through 15 changes of our root word, and nuwis is our root word. I'm gonna put it in the chat just so you know. I'm telling you the, I guess what would we call it, the habitual form or present tense of this root word, and that's the one we're going to use tonight in our grammar. Holy heck, don't quislu yogano. It's raining hard over here. Don't quislu yogano. Yoyane. Wakatsununichi. Swagwegu wiswagadot. I'm just happy that all of you showed up. Dewasa Niugwedak. We have 20 people on tonight. Yoyane. Again, so here we go. I'm going to ask for volunteers. Honka, heil, he, hayutum galyake. Hayungote gaiga. C-stem, subjective, pronouns. And put it onto our root word, nuwes. Now you don't have to say the ending because we all know what the ending is, nuwese. But se is the ending, so you can just add the pronoun. So, Onka hayutum galyak. Who will volunteer? So you'll read through this, these 15 changes. Who will volunteer? Honka hayutum galyak. Oops.
I could give it a try.
Kiwa.
Okay. Ganuas, snuas, lanuas, yenuas, ganuas, deninuas, sninuas, ninuas, ganinuas, gaganinuas, twanuas, swanuas, ladinuas, gundinuas, Yaguanuas.
Yoyane.
Yo.
Yo. Honkaza. Who else wants to try?
I'll try.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, we got Gnues, Znues, Lanues, Yenues, Ganues, Zninues, Zninues, Ninues, Gninues, Yagninues, Dwanues, Zwanues, Ladinues, Gondinues, Yaguanues. Is that correct?
Huh. Yoyane. Honkaza.
I'll give it a try. Gnues, Sinues, Lanues, Yenues, Ganues, Ninues, Sninues, Ninues, Gninues, Yakninues, Dwanues, Swanues, Ladinues, Gundinues, Yagwanues.
Yoyane. Honkano. Who's next? All right. I hope everybody is repeating after with their mic off. All right, I'm going to share the slideshow for tonight, which of course will be emailed to you. And so I just wanted to do that little warm up so that we kind of jog your memories a little bit. Anyway, in the chat, we're supposed to be writing down, we're supposed to be putting in the chat any word you remember from last class too. Remember, it's on gardening and plants. Anyway, just wanted to remind you about that. So if you got here late, drop a word in the chat that you remember from last class. And then also, have you started using Ongwehumwehne in your daily routine yet? So have you started using Oneida language in your daily routine yet? One word's better than no words. 5 words is better than no words. How it? That means, come on, I'll use practice. Anyway, here's some basic grammar on asking a yes or no question. So these are specifically yes or no questions. So these are general rules, and it tells us a little bit about how our language is put together, how it's structured, but there's always exceptions. As soon as we say that something's in a predictable pattern, we come across something that's totally an exception, but that's just how it goes. Anyway, things are still in a predictable pattern, and most of the time it's very reliable. So that's how we're going to be learning with the root word method here. So asking a yes or no question. So this g sound, g, you could think of it as a question mark if you want to in a yes or no question. It has other meanings when it's used differently, But in this example and the yes or no question examples, this go you can think of as a question mark because it has to be there when you're asking a yes or no question. So, for example, if I say snúa sig go, I'm saying, do you like it? Snúa sig go. Snúa sig go. And then a positive response, you can add this this sound here, huh, which means yes. This is one way to say yes, huh. So in our positive response, it says, huh, gnúis. Huh, gnúis. Huh, gnúis. Yes, I like it. So then if we want to say, I don't like it, then this is how we add to the verb root to get the negative response. We say, yah, de. Yah, de. So in the example, it sounds like, yah, de gnúis. Yah, de gnúis. Yah, de gnúis. Yah, de gnúis. Okay, so how do I day and date? So come on, let's all practice. So now I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna just call on people instead of asking for volunteers. Let's see, Hoka, Honjunje Lunt. Who will be first? Let's see, Lenny. So can I ask you a question? You want to
Sure.
practice with me?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the question on the slide, and you can respond however you like. Snúa go.
Ooh, what if I don't know what that means? Is it just, do I like anything?
Yeah, it's just an it for now.
Okay. I will say, jak degnues.
Oh, yoyane. Yep, that's a response. Good job. Uh, let's see. Hoka no o. Julia, do you want to practice?
Yes.
Oh,
Ha.
oh.
Oh.
Snúa go.
Ha. Nuese. Or well, I would just say ha nues.
Ha, yoyane.
Yeah.
Ha, gnues. Yep, you don't have to
Yeah,
voice the
I
ending.
still get
Yep.
confused with the endings for some reason.
Yeah, it's okay. That's why we're practicing. Let's see. Hukanu. Um, let's see. Garth, do you want to practice? Oh, you guys are filling up the chat. That's awesome. Yane.
Oh, sorry. I'm here. I'm a little lost. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So I was just asking you if you wanted to practice the little question and answer, yes or no.
I got to say no at the moment. I'm still kind of learning it.
Okay.
I mean,
Cool.
I'm still catching on yet. So
All right. Well, just put any questions you have in the chat and keep on trying.
Yeah.
Yane.
So for negative response, it would be like da nuis.
You can say ja degnuis.
Nuis.
Ja degnuis. Ja degnuis. You gotta have that ya in there because yahde kind of goes together, but then when we use it on a verb root to form or make a negative response, that day kind of attaches itself to the verb root or
Not de
the
nuis.
verb, I guess. Say it again.
Not de nuis.
Yeah, degnuis.
Nu nuis.
Mm-hmm. And we're whispering our endings because there's no word coming after. Okay. Let's see. Does anyone else want to try before we go on to the next slide? Actually, I was going to change the pronoun up a little bit before we move on, just to show you how that works. So, our little warm-up exercise that we use with all those pronouns and changing them, it could be used here too, as part of this example. So where I'm pointing now, this S, we can remove it and put in another sound. So if I say la nube seca, la nube seca, la nube seca, who knows what that means? La nube seca.
I'm gonna wild guess. Is that like, does he like that?
Huh. La shelit. You're correct. Yane. So then you can make a yes or no question with any of those pronouns. So a positive response to la nube seca can be ha la nubes. Ha la nubes. So I just changed this K to the la sound. And it says, huh, he likes it. Or a negative response, I'm going to still use the la pronoun, but there's a new sound rule coming up. So if I say la nube seca and he doesn't like it, the negative response sounds like ya deja nubes. Ya deja nubes. Ya deja nubes. He doesn't like it. So do you hear where this day makes that L turn into an H sound? That's the sound rule I'm talking about. It's called a sound rule because predictably and reliably, the L on the la pronoun is going to change to an H if there's a sound coming before it. And in this case, our negative response puts our la pronoun in that position. So we have to change the L to an H. It's a very common sound rule. They call it the L to the H rule. It happens a whole bunch of times in our language, but there are exceptions. So if I say la nube seca, then the negative response sounds like ya deja nubes. Ya deja nubes. Let's try another one. So if I say ye nue set ga, ye nue set ga, ye nue set ga, honka yaganonte natine kando. Who knows what that means?
Does she like it?
Huh. Yoyane. Dashelit. You're correct. Does anyone want to try to make up their own question with a different pronoun before we move on? You can raise your hand or just say it, or you can put it in the chat too.
Zwanuwezega.
Huh, Yoyane. Swanue seka. Honka yaganote natine kando. Who knows what swanue seka means?
Do you all like it?
Huh, Yoyane. Dashelit. You're correct, Yoyane. Good one. So it's just this basic grammar that we're hoping will improve confidence and help you guys understand a little bit better. Does anybody have any questions so far? If you do, you can raise your hand or just holler out.
I have a question about future classes.
Mm-hmm.
You have a level where you go over these little sound rule changes? Is there like the level that we can get to eventually where that all gets explained, or is that going to be put into the classes?
That's a good question.
Mhm.
Um, I I think that we could do either or both of those moving forward.
Yeah, that sounds good, because there's a lot of little nuances of the language that, are really important for
Mhm.
everyday speech and reading and things like that. So it'd be nice to touch on those things.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
We'll go.
You know, especially because a lot of us are using texts, and we're trying to figure out the pronunciation via the sound practice, which is awesome. Any kind of way that you can do it is awesome. And so, yeah, we can definitely have a class like that. Why don't you drop that in the chat as a request so that we can have like a reminder of it? Yeah, we'll go. So this is our next slide. So this kind of
Wait,
describe.
I
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
sorry. On the last one, when she asked the Swa Nues,
Uh-huh.
Swa Nueseka, then would the response still be Ha Swa Nues and Yate Swa Nues?
Ooh, that's a really good question, Yoyane. No, it wouldn't be. So in that situation, the answer is going to use a different pronoun because the speaker is asking the listeners, do you all like this or do you all like it? Then the listeners are going to answer without including whoever was asking, right? Because that's just how question and answers go. So instead, you're going to use the yagwa pronoun, which means they and I, or me and my group of people. That's two or more. So there's three or more of us because swanues, the swa indicates three or more, right? So do you want to try to give a positive response with the yagwa pronoun?
So Ha Yagwa Nues.
Ah, yagwa nues.
Ha Yagwa Nues. And then yate yaguanues.
Ha, yate yaguanues. Yoyane.
Thank you.
That's an awesome question. So, to help you understand a little bit more before we go to that next slide, when the speaker is asking a question that involves you, meaning using the he, they, or you pronoun, the sni, or the two of you pronoun, or the swa, which we just done, the speaker's asking the listeners, right? So then the listeners have to give a response that doesn't include the speaker, which means you have to use one of those pronouns that excludes whoever you're talking to. So, can anybody come up with how to say, do you two like it? Do the two of you like it? Honkayaga no te natene, Hosi. Do you two like it? Who knows how to say that?
Sni nuwezeka.
Yoyane. And so then in our responses, both positive and negative, what is our pronoun going to change to? Think about that for a minute. And remember that little chart we started out with and the meanings of the pronouns. Honkayaganute natine hosilu. Huh. Me and someone like it.
It would it be Gninues?
Da.
Mm.
Try again.
Okay.
Almost.
Yagninues.
Huh, Yoyane, dashilit. And so then if it was a negative response, "Hokayaganote natene hosilu," someone and I don't like it. Who wants to try that one? Someone and I don't like it. So we just add the yate to the beginning of that pronoun, yagni, and then the rest of our verb are ya de yagni nues. Now, before we go on again, do we understand why it wasn't gni for the pronoun answer or the pronoun response? Because this is important. If anybody is
Because,
confused.
all right, now I realize because Gni means two females.
Huh, yoyane.
And the other Yagni is me and one other person or me and someone else,
Huh.
not specifically two females. So I get it now. Thank you.
Yoyane. Dashirit. That's awesome. That's very important. So, Catherine, I was asking you two, the two of you, sninueseka, and then the responses have to be using the yagni pronoun. So, yagni nues, or yagni nues. because you kind of have to think of the scenario of the speaker asking the listeners, "Do you two like it?" And then the listeners responding by saying, maybe one of the listeners is responding by saying, "Huh, me and someone," meaning me and this other person that you was just talking to, "we like it or we don't like it." So it's a we, but it's me and someone and not who you're talking to. I hope that doesn't confuse everybody, but that's how it goes. All right, let's see. So there's a little bit of information just about sentence structure. So Oneida and English are different when it comes to what counts as a word. Okay, so often an Oneida word corresponds to a whole phrase or a whole sentence in English. And most Oneida words, which are mostly all verbs, they consist of verb, roots or stems, plus prefixes and suffixes. So a prefix is something that goes before the verb root, a sound that goes before the verb root, and a suffix is a sound that goes after the verb root or at the end of the word. And so this example here says le sucks. Le sucks. Le sucks. So it means he's looking for it or he looks for it. So here, this sound is telling you the pronoun is he, and then this word or other sounds in the middle is telling you the verb root or the verb stem, and then this S is the ending. So this LE is the prefix, this S is the suffix, and the verb root is in the middle. And that's a basic building blocks, or you can think of them as puzzle pieces of an Oneida word. And that's why it's said that it can mean a whole phrase or a whole sentence in English. And this slide gives you a little bit of information on the parts of speech compared to English. So in English, we have verbs, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, all these other things, 8 of them, 8 parts of speech. And in Oneida, we have 3. We have a noun, a verb, and a particle. And so those are used all together in infinite combinations to make up words and sentences. And so here's a little example of a sentence using our same verb root that we started out with, and then a particle and a noun, which are the 3 parts of speech that we talked about: the verb, the noun, the particle. And so this is, I already mentioned that the majority of our words are verbs. And so this example says, Gnuwe se tiga hadiadawit. Gnuwe se tiga hadiadawit. Gnuwe se tiga hadiadawit. I like that shirt. Now, some speakers or anyone who's creating a sentence we'll add another little particle here that sounds like ne. Gnuese ne tika hadyadawit. So notice the order. So first we have the verb, the particles in the middle, and then the noun is at the end. So this is like the subject of the sentence, but it's also, this whole word is also a sentence. So that's why our sentence structure and word order and things like that gets confusing. So, gnuese tiga hadyadawit. Tiga can mean that, or it could also mean those. If this noun was plural, meaning more than one shirt, then this tiga would mean those, because there's more than one shirt. So just remember, this tiga can mean that, or it could also mean those. So our example sentence sounds like gnuese tiga hadyadawit. So, and now I want some people to practice. Hoka hayutungalyak, who will volunteer? And I want you to say, he likes that shirt. Hoka yaganote natine hosilu. He likes that shirt.
I'll try.
How?
Lanuese ne tiga hadyadawit.
Yoyane. Dashenit. You're correct. Hoka yaganote natine hosilu. She likes that shirt. Hoka yaganot.
I could try.
Oh,
Inuese netiga ya hajadawit.
yoyane. Dashenit. You're correct. Hoka yaganote natine hosilu. You like that shirt. You like that shirt. Natine hosi. Who knows how to say it? You like that shirt.
Is it sagnues, tika achadawit?
Chilek? Almost. So, we're going to remove this K and just replace it with an S. And then you'll have it. I'm going to try
Oh
again.
yeah, sorry, yeah. Son. So just snues,
Huh.
snuese, tika achadawit.
Huh. Yoyane. Dashelit. You did it correctly, Yoyane.
If you wanted to say, do you like that shirt? Would you say what she just said, only add the ga at the end?
Huh. You can add the ga directly after the verb. So it would go right here. You want to try that?
Sure. Snu se ga tika adiadawit.
Yoyane. Dashelit. So then, how would you say, yes, you like the shirt, or yes, I like the shirt? Which is the example that we have right there. It's just the response.
Gnu se tika adiadawit.
Huh. So then, how would you say, I don't like that shirt?
That would be Yate Ganue Se Tiga Ajadawit.
Huh, Yoyane. Does everybody understand where to put the question mark in a question like that? You guys took it to another level, so that's awesome. That means you're understanding a lot. So, Yoyane for that. Good one. But does everybody understand that ga goes right after the verb and not at the end of adiadawit or at the end of the sentence? Is that pretty clear? So, let's see. Honkayaga no te natte ne hosiru. Does he like that shirt? Does he like that shirt? Honkayaga no te natte ne hosiru.
Lanue seka ne tika adiaduit.
Oh, yane. Natte ne hosiru. Yes, he likes that shirt. Honkayaga no.
Lanue se tika adiaduit.
Oh, yane. Ne tona. And so then, Honkayaga no te natte ne hosiru. He doesn't like that shirt.
That would be Yate Lanue Se Ne Tiga Ajadawit.
Yoyane. Except we gotta fix one thing. And remember the L to the H rule.
Yes, we do. Okay, let me try again.
How?
Yate Hanue Se Ne Tiga Ajadawit.
Yoyane. Does anybody have any questions about this little sentence? And so this is a basic sentence, okay? So the way we change it, we already took one step to change it, and that was make it into a question, which was awesome. And went along perfect with our beginning slide. So these two words, they can be changed out. Of course, you can use a different noun for whatever object you want. There's we did like a survey of nouns once, and there's probably about 130, 140 nouns. That's not very many. That's why our language is mostly verbs. That's why we say our language is mostly verbs. And then this particle can also change. It can change to gaigon or gaig. Maybe you've heard that before, gaigon. can mean this or these. So it's just, you know, a situation where you want to use this instead of that. So, that's almost like the end of our slides for today. I wanted to just ask what kind of reflections you have from this class. What new grammar concepts did you enjoy learning about in tonight's class? How has this class helped you move forward on your language learning journey, and what connections have you been making? And so work on dropping that in the chat while we look at this last link here. So, this website we're going to take you to is an awesome resource for this book by edited by Karen Michelson, who's a linguist who's worked on Oneida language for many years. And she has a lot of recordings of our mother tongue speakers, and she shares them and helps write dictionaries and anything to help document and save our language. Plus, she's a really nice person. I've met her before. So this link takes you right to her website, which is part of the State University of New York at Buffalo. Tells you a little bit about her, but this tab right here, the recordings tab, it takes you to some stories that are in the book right here called Glimpses of Oneida Life. And so you can choose from any of these stories, and it's going to take you to another page where you can listen to the story, and you can also see it as a PDF or on the screen, because I'm going to click the fat cat right here. And so this story is 4 minutes long, because there's a recording that goes right along with it. And then you can also enlarge this, and let's see, you can click on this PDF too. So when I start the recording, I'm gonna click on this PDF, and then you'll see the story itself, and you can try to follow along with the recording, okay? And let me know, let's just try this real quick and make sure you can actually hear the audio.
Yatte aguat gatos.
Oh, you can't see it? Oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, I have to share a different tab. There. Now it'll work. Okay. So the link that we clicked on, or that I clicked on in the slideshow, took you to this page right here. And then you click on this recordings tab. And I don't know if you can you still see it or no?
Huh.
Oh, Haukiwa. So then I'm clicking on this story called The Fat Cat. And then I want to know if you can hear this.
Nega ika ang kungkalado se lole sandagos kwa.
Did you hear that or no?
Huh.
I swear this is not where I wanted it to be. Anyway, all right. Okay, so let's try this all again. Okay, so when this recording starts again, I'm gonna click on this. Let me make sure you can see this if I click on it. Can you see that? Smarkatoska? Or no?
Da.
Okay, so I don't think we can look at it and hear it at the same time. Unless we do it right here. So that's what we'll do. But it's kind of small. What's this do? Not much. Okay. How about this? It's a little bit better, I guess. Trying to just make it bigger so you can see it. Okay, I'm clicking the play button and I'm gonna turn it all the way up.
Nega ika ang kung kalado se lole Santa Claus quiet. Oska hon latste kai ka koksta ha. Oh nega kli wa undo. China he undo ni he kai ko nega kli na saya ke he ala ne chi achaya wan chi Canada ke ya ha. Nagui wa hon ali wa no don se Tacos wa ilo. Tacos ang saton dade ka ang sada ni kon lale. Ang sada ni kon lalangka iko oh nega kli. Ya chaya wanchi Canada ke ya hang. Wahalo Tacos. Do ne na gatsano. Nagui wa uhtandi. Canada ke nya hayang ka ika koksta. Nenchi na he ya kohtanti. Na ne wahato kalya ke ka ika Tacos. Naso kui wala ke oh nekake. Toneni hato kalya stikan Tacos. Wahate kwisane oh nekakli. Sekon kanachi walak. Na tsahohtane na walelhe. Tahata wang liesa ki wa. Nagui wa tata wang liesa ka ika Tacos. Tua charla ne yeksa. Wa ilo yeksa. Tacos na te isex soji sales. Wahalo Tacos. Oh ne kakli wakate kwiso sekon kanachi wake. Izege noa asko walak. Na so kui wa sako walak. Nagale wi wahadongo te kaika Tacos te hota wang lihati. Na tua charla ne laksa. Wahalo tika laksa. Tacos na te isex soji sales. Wahalo Tacos. Oh negakli wakate kwiso. Sekon kanachi wake. Yeksa ke wahlak. Izege noasko walak. Na so kui waho walak. Wahohta ne kui kaika Tacos. Nagale wi wahadongo. Waka na he lachi hastachi no ato saherla. Wahalo lachi hastachi. Tacos na te isex soji sales. Wahalo Tacos. Oh negakli wakate kwiso. Sekon kanachi wake. Yeksa ke wahlak. Kale laksali wahlak. Izege no asko walak. Naso kui waho walak kaika lachi hastachi. Nagale wi wahadongo te. Yakungwe ya dase hanua to sahyarla. Wa ilon kai kaya ya dase. Tacos na te isex soji sales. Wahalo Tacos. Oh negagli wakate kwiso. Sekon kanachi wake. Yeksa ke wahlak. Kale laksali wahlak. Kale lachi hastachi sali wahlak. Izege no asko walak. Naso kui waho walak kaika lachi hastachi. Wahohtane nagale wi wahadongo. Wako knioleni haweno. Layanda kwas no ato sahyarla. Wahalo kaika layanda kwas. Tacos na te isex soji sales. Wahalo Tacos. Oh negakli wakate kwiso. Sekon kanachi wake. Yeksa ke wahlak. Kale laksali wahlak. Kale lachi hastachili wahlak. Kale yeya daseha ke wahlak. Izege noasko walak. Naso kui kaika layanda kwas wahalo. Yahui ne taga tunda de aske walak. Naso kui laudogo walatste. Tahasa te. Wahla ni kwa dene non kaika Tacos na ho as. Naso kui ne tosa hadiaga ne tika. Lachi hastachi kale yeya daseha kale. Laksa kale yeksa kale. Oh negake. Sekon kanachi. Hakwe ko tosa hodikedo. technique.
So I just wanted to share this website with you as part of our class. And so we've come to the end here. It's 8 o'clock here anyway. And oh, thanks for putting that link in the chat. That's awesome. Yamako. So does anybody have any questions? And I was just looking at some of the chat. Yep, that's right, Christy. The ga and skanagoga is the question mark, and it's a yes or no question. So, Yoyane. How Swasundio Hak Swagweg. You all have a good night. And let's see. In a couple weeks, we'll see each other again. Dewan Dake Hozigwag. In 2 weeks, we'll see each other again. Yamako. Togitnik. So thanks for coming to class, everybody. And look for your slideshow. And I don't know if we're sending out recordings yet or not, but this class is recorded, of course. So if you have any questions or think of anything, you can also just email or reply to the email that the slideshow was sent out on. Nagiwa.